Maximum football.
Please welcome, from the University of Florida, tackle Max Starks.
Yeah, Max is here. And Max, we get to talk about a Cardinals win this week.
I know, right?
And it really kind of started up front. So this is like tailor-made for you.
This is all about the Beefalos. And, you know, and that's one of the things I think when you think about it, physicality at the point. How scary, how menacing are you when you get punched in the mouth? You either come back swinging or you go back reeling and guard your face, right? And your brother Craig knows all about that, right?
All
Running a
about
boxing
it.
gym. When you get hit in the face, that's the adversity where you have to make a decision. Do you fight back or do you retreat? And Arizona Cardinals, you saw no retreat.
Yeah, you know what's so amazing about it to me, Max, is through 3 games right now, the one common denominator, they're going to compete on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
They're going to compete on the line of scrimmage. Really not a surprise to me in regard to their offensive line. I thought their offensive line was going to be okay. Not great, but okay. They have, when it comes to run blocking right now, they're doing an awesome job running the ball. And that's really an awful lot of credit to everybody that goes out there and gets in that huddle and breaks that huddle and breaks somebody's face coming off the ball.
Well, and you slow the game down when you can run the ball effectively. All those pass rushers, all those speedy guys, they get eliminated. They get eliminated very easily. When you can run the ball, you can get 3-4 yards a carry. You can move the chains consistently. That puts pressure on you because there's a lot of energy spent on the guys that don't have low body fat percentage.
Yes. That's right. Well, you know, once again, though, we were talking about this and have been talking about it for a long time, but in the National Football League, because of the proliferation of the spread offense, there's a lot of athletes playing inside that defensive box. Not football players. There's a lot of athletes that are playing in there. You got to find out. Okay, you know what? We're going to find out if you as an athlete can actually get in a fist fight, metaphorically speaking, and hold up.
Sometimes literally. It depends on the team.
And you know what? Honestly, that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing. When we're seeing teams that maybe had bad week ones, right? Because, you know, it's all brand new. You got a lot of new faces on teams starting, and things don't quite fit together. But now we're in week 3, going into week 4. Teams are starting to come together, right?
4 games.
You're
That
starting
to, me
to
is a
see
sample size.
And now you can make your assessment on what is the identity of this team. After a month, after 4 games, the first quarter of the season, you can now say, I kind of know what they want to do. I kind of know what this team is building themselves on. And when you say toughness, when you say physicality at the lines of scrimmage, those are identity factors, right? Those are ID motivators, right? And you look at it and you say, hey, this is what we can hang our hat on. Here's what our bread and butter plays are. Here's what we know we can roll this front out or this formation out anytime, anywhere, any given circumstance, and this is what we can lean our hat on. We're going to get this out of it. You don't know that week 1. You don't even know that week 2. Week 3, week 4, week 5. Now I know. Okay, well, put a check mark next to that play or that defense. These dogs will hunt every single time. So that's what we're getting to, and that's why things are starting to normalize now for a lot of teams around the league.
We got to see Rondale Moore run forward. That was nice.
It was good.
We've seen Hollywood
Not
Brown.
as much lateral. Yeah,
No,
it's always better.
It's like this guy's really fast when you point him in the right direction. We've seen a little bit. I know everything you just said is true. We're only 3 games in. I gotta say, Max, I'm encouraged by the way Drew Petzing calls a football game, at least so far. 3 games, but against 3 pretty decent teams, especially 2 really good defenses.
And you're also doing it with a quarterback that's gaining information on a snap-by-snap basis, right? He has no reference point for anything.
Here, let me give you a reference point, okay? I looked this up before.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins leads the NFL in attempts this year with 138.
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs has 167 in his career.
Exactly.
So he's still learning a lot week to week.
He doesn't even have 3 weeks worth of attempts.
No.
For a veteran quarterback. But that's also the beauty of it, right? Because if you don't know what you don't know, you don't have hesitancy. You don't have to say, I don't feel good. You go and you're like, yep, let's just do it. Whatever you need me to do, let's do it. I'm going to go through my progression. I'm not going to skip 1 to 3. I'm not going to go 2, then 4. I'm not going to jump back and forth. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my options. Not there. Get rid of it or get gone. That's your only way.
You know what is so cool about it is as well is not only that the Arizona Cardinals are able to go out there and run the ball and try to be physical and compete on the line of scrimmage, which is so important, especially offensively, but it helps Josh Dobbs. It does help him with play action, of course, and because you're able to do that now and because you've been able to show that James Conner is a real problem, you better be able to stop James Conner if you want to stop the Arizona Cardinals offense. Guess what that does for Josh Dobbs over the next 4 weeks? That really helps him out in regard to his play action game in a big way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you can hand the ball off 14, 15, 20 times in a game and trust the back, that's one less attempt that's on the shoulder of your quarterback.
And defensive coordinators are going to go into every game saying, we got to take James Conner away from this team.
And how do you do that?
Stop the run.
You got to bring another guy in the box. And we all know, single high. Let it fly. Let it fly. And you guys got an F-16 fighter jet over there, Marquise Brown. So that's what you want to do because, let's face it, Dallas Cowboys, cover 2. We're going to play zone. We're going to zone you to death. And we're going to dare you to throw into our zone because that's where our corners are at their best. Now, yes, Trayvon Diggs wasn't in there. Who cares? The whole point is that you want to take the other team out of what they feel most comfortable in. And that means taking them to the deep water and make sure their feet can't touch the bottom while their head's above water. Now it gets uncomfortable, right? You have to start moving your arms. You have to start creating things. And that's what a balanced offensive attack does to a defense. And vice versa. A balanced defense where it's like, I can't pick on anybody here. Oh, man, it's 3rd and 5. Can I run? Can I not run? Okay, fine, we're going to throw a pass. Okay, that's when their defense was really good. They want you in that quandary. They want you to take the ball out of the gut of the running back and put it on the arm of the QB because they feel better that way. It's easier to identify, and it's also not as threatening because he's not moving forward at you. He's usually moving away from you, and you usually catch him in an awkward position. And that's what Dallas was uncomfortable for because they hadn't had to deal with that the first couple games. The state of New York was not willing to do that. The Giants or the Jets, you know? And so that's where you had them in charge. But the Cardinals are like, listen, we're 0-2. What's the worst that can happen if we run this football at you continuously, right? And you saw the result of that, and Dallas didn't know how to act.
And guess what Dallas is going to see for the next 4 weeks? Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Yes,
Get ready for some running.
Yes.
Week for us.
I will do my best.
Okay.
I will do my best. I mean, one of the biggest things, I'm still breaking down film from that Jacksonville game, but, from the outside view, I mean, C.J. Stroud's been doing a great job.
Yes.
It hasn't been him.
It really bothers Wolf, too, by the way.
Yeah.
That he's doing this as a rookie.
Well, Ohio State quarterbacks, let's just be honest, have never fared well in the NFL.
No.
Hello, Justin Fields, which was their biggest hope coming into this, and he is dropping down. And it's to the point that Ohio State fans are still claiming Joe Burrow. That's how bad it is.
Oh, come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I look at this, I'm like, CJ's doing a lot of good things. I mean, awareness, the responsibilities they're giving him. Tank Dell is looking awesome right now for him. So, I mean, it's going to be a challenge of pressuring a rookie quarterback. That's just the age-old rule is when a quarterback is feeling comfortable and throwing the ball as many times as he is, how are you going to do with pressure? In your face consistently. Yeah. So that's one of the things I think you have to do with him.
I have not watched any tape at all on how they're attacking C.J. Stroud. But isn't that the first thing you do as a defensive coordinator? Let's find out if this kid can handle this, right?
Yeah, that's the first thing you do. Or they're dropping him. They're dropping into zone, and they're saying, can he throw in the window?
Correct.
And will he throw an interception? Well, the problem is he's not throwing an interception yet.
Or they're going to go ahead and say, okay, we're going to pick our spots, and we'll get you to throw it to us by coming after you, and then pretending we're going to come after you, and then dropping back into coverage, and you're going to throw it to whatever it may be right now.
He's not doing it either way.
No,
this is blowing my – Peyton Manning Peyton Manning, which to me, again, when you talk about somebody who understood the game of football, the game plan, the efficiency in which he went out and actually executed the game plan, I don't think there's ever been anyone better in the NFL than Peyton Manning. He threw 28 picks in the first season he played in the NFL. And you got C.J. Stroud through 3 games with a 98 quarterback rating, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks, and he's completing 65% of his pass. What are you doing, Peyton?
I was just, I was going to read off some of the quarterbacks with a worse passer rating than C.J. Stroud so far this season. Okay. Josh Dobbs is not one of them. He's got a 98.1, so he's ahead of C.J. Stroud. Take that, C.J. Here's some names of quarterbacks with a worse passer rating so far. Baker Mayfield, Lamar, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, Mac Jones, Derek Carr, Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
Exactly. And it was the dumpster fire that was the Houston Texans.
Well, not anymore, I guess.
But what you say, I think you look at DeMeco Ryans and the job that he's doing trying to reclaim this team and trying to put it together. You start with cornerstone pieces. Then right now, you can say that CJ's a part of that new renaissance for them as their top draft pick. And then you look at Will Anderson on the defensive side of the ball. Like, okay, let's work from there. Now, you have 2 good tackles. Laramie Tunsil, still one of the tops in the NFL at the left tackle position. He's going to make sure his backside's protected. Yeah. Then you've got the young boy, Joan. What was the kid from the HBCU? I can't think of his name. Anyways, he's been there forever.
Okay.
So now he's at the right tackle. You feel good. Middle of that offensive line, I don't really trust, but they're working okay right now. We're going to test Kendrick Green because we Red Rovered him on over right before our final cuts. So we're gonna test him. We know him personally.
So Max, did you think C.J. Stroud was going to have a good rookie year? Did you think he was going to be good?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I didn't think any of the rookies were going to be good.
Right.
To be honest. Yeah. Yeah. Because Anthony Richardson. Well. DNP, right? It's the Gardner Minshew show up there right now because he's in protocol. Bryce Young is whack-a-mole right now. He's trying to hide in a hole somewhere. He does not want to. I mean, and he's out.
I feel bad for him, David Carr.
Yeah, very close to looking like that. Absolutely.
You might want to
do not shell shock him because right now you need to get a better offensive line in place if you're going to put that kid out there. He's not ready. But with CJ knows how to get the ball. I think the benefit of Ryan Day and the offense he came from in Ohio State, they went and they made a concerted effort to make it look like that for him. And that's why you see Tank Dell really being one of the big featured guys because he's a guy in the slot, the guy that's going to get out and give you whatever it is. Yardage-wise, get it to him. Just feed him the ball because you're gonna block the outsides. You're gonna try and take away the deep threats, and you're giving up all this underneath stuff, so it keeps his completion percentage high.
You know what's incredible about it as well? It's not like the Houston Texans are lining up and running the ball, and they're putting him in this balanced offense.
No, he's throwing.
He's played 3 games, and he's got 121 attempts. I mean, that's okay. Now listen, this is going to be really good right here, but that's 40 attempts per game.
There we go. 40.3 if you want to be real exact.
Well, 40.33.
Yeah.
Well, 40.333.
There we go. We're just going to keep it repeating.
But you know what I'm saying, man. Yeah. That is a lot of attempts.
That is.
They're putting a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. And he's coming through for him right now.
Before we go too far with the Houston stuff, Max, while you're here, I got to ask you.
Yeah.
How do you give up 70 points in an NFL game? How is that possible in 2023?
Man, it's the Denver Broncos. Apparently, Broncos country, let's ride. Wilson is not. He's not doing it. And here's the thing: it's not his fault either. I mean,
not this
game. No, this game. We're not even going to pass off a year yet.
Yes.
But this game, like Cam Sutton had 2 big drops in the game where he fumbled the ball away. On top of that, he's like, but I had 2 touchdowns. Like, but you gave them also
they had 2
opportunities.
Touchdowns come away.
Yeah, exactly. Because of that. But
it could have been 70-34, Max. But they could have kept it within 36.
But what Miami is doing down there is video game-esque.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It is
pretty sick.
I love it.
And they did it on the ground and in the air. Mostert had 4
First
touchdowns.
of all, in rundown situation, the Miami Dolphins, number 1 personnel group, 21 personnel.
And they just put up 70 points.
I'm just saying right now.
Yeah, it wasn't 11
personnel.
It wasn't 3 wide.
What?
It wasn't 3 wide. Yeah.
Just run right through you.
And
60 minutes.
There was one solid shot on social media that it was like caption this, and I think it was Tyreek Hill running, and it looked like a wake of bodies on the ground, like from missed tackles and guys just. I mean, it was like 7 guys on the defense were like either laying down or very far behind.
Yeah,
and it was just like, wow, this is a pro team. This is a pro team. I've seen FCS schools go to Power 5 number 1 ranked teams and not lose that bad, or at least get paid enough money that they can justify it. There's no FCS fee. It wasn't like, hey, welcome to our beaches. We're going to give you free jet ski rentals.
Yeah.
When you come down
just
here.
Come down here and lose.
Yeah, to get the face beat off of you.
Are they the real quick? Is Denver? I guess it's got to be Denver or Chicago right now. It's only 3 weeks, but are they the leaders in the clubhouse in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes? It's got to be one of those 2 teams right now.
Absolutely.
Not just record. I mean, they just look worse than everybody else.
They just look terrible. And what's happening in Chicago is an absolute implosion. So
yeah.
I don't think you can go any further. Those are the two that don't even look close to having life for victory. So I mean, I think this could be the first time, worst case scenario, you say 2 teams that could go winless because they look that inept right now.
Chicago somehow got worse, which I didn't expect.
I didn't expect that either.
No.
To actually go out in Justin Fields. I
had a lot more faith in him.
So did I.
So did I. I thought he was going to be better, and he's really been struggling. I don't want to put it all on Justin Fields, of course. I don't want to do that, but man, I always worry. I don't like to see. I don't like to see young quarterbacks this early, where there's going to be a lot of people saying he's going to be failure. He's going to be a failure.
Yeah. Well, they've given up 106 points in 3 games, too.
I
They
know.
can play some defense.
I just don't
their
like it
defense
when a
isn't
young
helping.
guy is put into that situation like that, and people make that kind of determination about him early.
It seems like a lot of the quarterbacks that go through Chicago lately. All right, final hour of the show today, live from the Ak-Chin Community Studios. Max Starks joining us for the weekly Maximum Football installment here. And Max, got to talk Josh Dobbs here because week 1, he looked a little bit lost. The offense wasn't really doing anything, and then he had a big turnover in the second half. And he said that he was going to be better in week 2, and he was considerably better in week 2. And then he was even light years better in week 3. So we already detailed he's only thrown 167 NFL passes in his entire career, so he's still a relative unknown. But how much more can we expect from this guy? Because he's not turning the ball over, which is really all I was asking of the Cardinals quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I think you have to assume, like we talked about earlier in the show, right? Every snap, every rep is good because he's gaining experience. He is learning more about himself in game time situations. You can't simulate that in practice. You can't simulate that anywhere else outside of being in the game, in the stadiums on Sundays. You have to be able to go through. And the more information he's taking, hello, rocket scientist, the more calculations he can make, the better and more efficient that he can be. And the number one thing you said, not turning the ball over. Judicious with the football is rule number 1 if you're going to be new said starting quarterback in any situation. So I expect him to continually get better. There's going to be a bump in the road at some point, right? There's never a just full-on ascension and, go forward, never look back. That's why cars have rear-view mirrors, right? You have to see what's behind you at some point. But he is in a position where he's doing all of the right things, and he feels comfortable with what Drew Petzing and this offense is asking him to do. He's not thinking or postulating what else can be done, or maybe if I can just send the receiver on a different route because I think it's better. There's none of that input. It's like, okay, this is what we're doing, so everybody knows it. We're on the same page. And I think you can expect a better performance, more solid, more efficient out of him, but he's not the guy that's going to just wow you. He's not the one coming out like Anthony Richardson. Oh, my gosh, he has legs, so he's going to run every time. No, he's looking to move the pocket and get the ball downfield, which is what you want to have in this style of offense right now.
You know, one of the things that I love the most about what Josh Dobbs is doing, I think it's an excellent example for Kyler Murray, who's sitting there watching all of this, watching a guy that doesn't have a ton of experience, right?
Yeah.
A guy who's been around but doesn't have a ton of...
Learned a lot.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a ton of experience in terms of actually going out. He had, 85 pass attempts coming into this season, as a matter of fact. So I love the fact that it's a great example for Kyler Murray to sit there and look at this guy go out and actually orchestrate this offense and run this offense. And some of it is from under center. Run this offense. I think
Especially
it is
under center.
validation, once again, that this offense works when it's executed correctly.
Well, and the key thing you said, under center, because that's something I've been dealing with in my other job, since people don't like me mentioning where else I work.
We do.
I know you guys do.
Of course.
Apparently listeners don't. But, I look at it, and that was an issue that I had with the way our quarterback's playing. And it was 74% was from shotgun.
Wow, that's a lot.
And it's a huge amount. And then you think about Kyler Murray, right? Almost exclusively
Yes.
from that position. And you've talked to Lorenzo Alexander. I've talked to Lorenzo. I talked to
Yes.
other defensive
Yes.
guys. I've talked to James Harrison about these things. Brett Kiesel. Now I said, what is a bigger challenge? A guy that's under center or a guy that's in shotgun? He said, under center especially. Because from under center, everything's available to you. At shotgun, half is available to you, if not a quarter. And if you're a good
That's
defensive
what they all
player,
say.
I've now narrowed down to what I want you to do versus what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big difference. And so when you're under center, you don't know which direction it's going. You don't know which direction he might be bootlegging. You don't know if it's play action. You don't know if it's run. It all looks the same. But when you're a shotgun or pistol, running backs on one side, boom, I know he can only do this. On the other side, can only do this.
Right.
5 wide, we know he can only do this.
The only team who can actually get away with it is the Philadelphia Eagles, because their offensive line is so good. It doesn't matter if you know.
Yeah, when you have five land mammals that just move everything and just bulldoze
mammals?
it.
Is that what you
Yeah,
call it?
exactly. They're 5 bison, okay? They're 5 bison that you pretty much just say, go out and do whatever it is you do. And good things happen. But not everybody has that line.
Right.
And not everybody has that skill, and also doesn't have the weapons at every other position on the football field. That's an advantage. So, I mean, I love what you said, because for Kyler Murray, seeing it actually practically applied on the sideline gives you a different perspective. And also seeing the way that Josh Dobbs is leading gives you a different
example.
perspective. And Josh Dobbs, even though he's young, he's older than Kyler.
Yes.
And so to watch, quote unquote, an older player with less experience do what he's doing, I think is really, really solid when you think about that. And I think that's only helping. So, there's this pressure, right? Because Kyler's been talking about coming back and sending all his videos and everything.
Yes.
He can't come back till week 5 at earliest. But I don't know if I'm ready to rush him out there. Because
Yeah, I mean, I touch base with Kyler every day, but he's doing well. But no, we know the timetable, but we have our own timetable.
I wasn't trying to throw it.
I love that.
Throw to it right there, Max, but they just did. So there you go.
there we go. Ghost in the Machine said, let's back up Max's
Gannon's
statement.
got
We
his
know
own
the
Appreciate that.
timetable, but we have our own timetable. That was great.
And that timetable probably got pushed back further once you saw you beat the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, that was kind of where I was going to ask you before you leave is that's an interesting way to put it if you're Jonathan Gannon, because we all know when Kyler can come back.
Yes.
Right? So why say something like that? I mean, that only makes it sound like, maybe he doesn't come back in week 5.
Well, you have to also, you're playing the game, right? You're playing the game. You don't want teams game planning for that. So you keep it anonymous. But like you said, you also don't want to mess with the rhythm of your team. And that's the other thing where as a head coach, you have to balance, where's my team at right now? And will it falter, or will it crack, or will it lean in a different direction if we change something as big as the quarterback right now? It's easier if we're 0-5 by the time Kyler comes here, right? Okay, obvious change needs to happen. But if you're 2-3 and you're ascending in the right direction, right? Dobbs is still judicious with the football. We're still able to do what we want to do. We're in games at the end of them. Yeah, maybe I need to wait a little bit and make sure Kyler's in shape, make sure his accuracy there, make sure he builds a rapport with his receivers, do some other things instead of throwing him out there and kind of let him figure it out on his own in this brand new offense that he has not run. He has not run this offense.
Yeah, I mean, how much do you need him to play this season to know what you have going into next offseason?
Yeah.
As far as Kyler, I mean, it can't just be 2 games, right? You got to see I don't know, half.
Yeah,
the season.
and I don't think, and they're not going to hold him that long. I mean, by at worst, right? But you were going to get a guy that you paid a lot of money. You're going to get him on the field, but it's like I don't have to get him the first available date.
Yeah.
If I can hold off 1-2 games and get him acclimated properly, like it should be with an IR rule, then because he actually has to practice, make sure he gets it before I put him out there because I don't want to mess up what our team chemistry is right now, especially offensively. It's very efficient, and the quarterback is being efficient and smart with the football and letting the guys on the other side of the ball play.
Yes, the bye week, by the way, is week 14.
Yeah, this year the bye week.
Oh God, I thought y'all had an earlier. Is it
Week 14.
When's the Thursday night game?
It is.
The bye week is basically
Thursday.
Christmas
I
Eve.
think. Yeah. No, we're not doing that. Okay. Wow. They still do buys that late?
No, just for the Cardinals.
Just for
this year,
Jesus. I mean, ours is in 2 weeks. I'm like, come on.
Max, appreciate the time as always, man. Thank you, buddy.
My pleasure, guys.